Welcome back then folks to the final build for day one. Don't worry, plenty more still coming. Supra and Corvette already done, now the Mitsubishi Evo 10, and of course more coming over the weekend as well. I'm planning to mostly focus in on the cars that a lot of players really love and that you can also get pretty early on in the game, and then of course we'll start moving into the more obscure stuff, the more expensive stuff. So this one is the Mitsubishi Evo 10, as I said. You do want the V8 engine. I know you don't like the V8 engine if you're a purist. As I've said before, these builds are not for people who want the standard engine. I occasionally make an exception. Stuff like a Lexus LFA or a Porsche Carrera GT where people are crazy about the V10, sure, and then I'll do multiple versions. But for this one, it's just a speed build. It's straight line and cornering and grip and acceleration. It's designed to be the whole package and basically turn the Evo into an all-conquering monster. Of course, we've left the four-wheel drive, that's pretty obvious. For the turbo conversion, you want the twin. You could go for the supercharger, but I would recommend the turbo pretty much all the time. For the wide body, I've said it before, if you download the version, incidentally with the code 169539826, you'll get exactly what I've done here. In terms of performance, as you can see at the bottom, 3.7 to 60, so not quite as quick on acceleration as some cars, but you've got to remember it's only just over 1,000 horses, which is quite low by Forza standards compared to some others. So 3.7, 8.6 to 100, 268 miles an hour flat out, and boy does that rear wing make a big difference on this car, so I'll show you that in a second. So as far as the body kit, like I've said before with the Corvette, the Supra, basically anything with a wide body, you can do it, but look at the bottom. You drop so much speed and acceleration as well, so you could do it if you really care about the looks, but if you're looking for pure performance, then of course I'd recommend doing what I've done here. As far as the aero, you can do the bumpers if you want to. You could go for pretty much any of those standard ones. I would not recommend the racing one or the rally one because they do affect it, but again, it's your choice. As far as the wing, you can go for the wing, but again, I'll show you. Huge difference. Huge drop in top-end speed, as you'd assume. The rear bumper you could or couldn't go for. Makes a slight difference in speed, but nothing too crazy. Likewise with the bonnet, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the lights and all that kind of stuff, but again, it's your choice. And as far as the side skirts, doesn't matter too much which ones you go for. As far as the tyres, you pretty much already know the drill. I've gone for the slicks without the white lettering. It does look pretty good with the lettering as well, though, so you could go for that. Or if you do want it purely for straight line performance, if we take a quick look at the drag tyres, we've got the, or I should say those are the slick tyres actually. If we go through 3.7, 8.7, so no change there. That's not the tyre I'm looking for, I don't think. I'm looking for, that's the one, the drag tyres. So even more rapid in a straight line. So crazy quick on that particular example. Like I said, you could go for the racing slicks as well. That's, of course, going to give you even better handling. For acceleration, it wasn't that much of a difference, if at all. But, you know, it's down to you. As far as the rims, I said it before, I always go for the lightest ones. Dimags, various others as well. The ones that I've got here are pretty light. As far as the rim size, I don't usually change that unless it's, you know, like a Pimp My Ride looking car. And for the track width, I have increased that as well. On the front, like I said, I don't like it sticking out too crazy. Some people don't care, so I'll leave it up to you. Then if we jump into the engine section, we've got everything fitted, so it's nice and simple, 1,017 horsepower, so in other words, all of the racing parts, and then likewise for everything else, but just to show you what I've done, we've got the racing brakes, the racing suspension, of course the anti-roll, the roll cage, the weight loss. It is all, as we run through here, all fitted. So it's nice and simple to do. All of these builds are, really. As far as the clutch, of course, racing. For the gearbox, I considered, since it's an Evo, giving it a 6-speed race box. You could, if you want to, but I'd still recommend the 4-speed because with supercar levels of power, you just don't need 6 gears. You could go for it if you really do want to work through those gears more, but like I said, I just don't really feel the need for it for this one. As far as the driveline, that is fitted, as we get disconnected from the server. The diff is the racing one, like I've said before. Some people do have a preference there, rally or drift or whatever, but that's it for mine. And of course, I already said earlier on the code to fit it onto the car. So then we've got 33 PSI for the tyres, and then for the gearbox, which of course is always the most important thing for these builds, 245, 307, 198, 135 and 90. As far as the alignment, 1 degree, little bit of toe in on the front, again for that turn in for cornering, none on the back, 4 degrees of caster, anti-roll is 30 and 35, springs are 130, 110 and the lowest, dampers 13, 10, 8 and 6, aero of course is not applicable, braking I never change as I've said before, some people do, I just don't really care for it, and as far as the diff, 75% for acceleration, 50 for decel, and as I try not to burp, a 70% rear bias for this particular one. So as you can see, 3.7, 8.6, 268 on paper. What can it do in practice? Well, of course, we will jump out as always to the street and show you exactly what this car can do. Now, of course, off the line, it's an Evo, so it's always going to be quick. But boy is it, it's properly quick, and this, as pretty much all of my builds do, can exceed the on-paper numbers. I will say, of course, pushing those final couple of miles an hour, you're not going to very often do that, but for an Evo with barely over 1,000 horses to be this quick, that's very competitive. It's got like a 500 plus horsepower disadvantage over some other cars in the game, and to still be that quick, well, it shows how rapid it is. It's a little bit twitchier than you might expect an Evo to be, but I've done that partially because of the toe, and also partially because I wanted to keep that kind of aggressive cornering, if you will, that the Evo has, and not make it too heavy through corners. But I think for most people this will be good enough. You can drift with it, you can use it as a drag car, a top speed car, and a circuit car. These builds really are designed to put everything all together, so check out the ones which I did earlier on today. Of course, follow my storefront, if you will, in the game if you want to keep up with all of my builds. And it seems like quite a few of them have actually been carried over from the Xbox version as well. So you might be able to find those in many cases. And of course, stick around here on the channel for plenty more, including tomorrow. So I'll see you then, and thanks for watching.